Hello? Is is anybody there? I- It's a live stream. Wait, there's somebody. Is that somebody? Are you paying attention? Are you a robot? Are you a real person? If you're watching the replay, are you a real person? Is anybody out there? Real people? I mean, I'm pretty sure I am. Can't be 100% sure. I want to show you guys this time lapse. This is actually from the 14th. Right? Just it's kind of nuts. Like it still baffles me that this is going on, like day in day out, basically. And it's like whatever, no big deal. Yes, I like this capture because you can see the moon, and you can see how it doesn't tilt or shift in any way in this video. Should make another one. I can only like zoom straight in. But yeah, I feel like I don't know. It just paints the picture pretty well. That time lapse right there. But I wanted to focus more on stuff from today, actual today day, because today was also nuts. I guess the 15th's over, but this is these are images from the 15th, and it was, you can sort of see wherever you look, something going down, something fresh, something new, and this was fascinating. I guess I'm not usually awake this early, but this is around, I don't know, 8, something like that, and you see these, X marks the spot. Where's the treasure? And that sort of reminds me of this, like a helix, like a double helix. And I know it's the wind. The wind's just blowing it. But those are some, seriously direct angles that seem hard to do on accident, if you know what I mean. Let's take a look here. Right, let me get situated. That's just too much junk. So much junk everywhere in my life, and I'm sure in yours there's I could look at an article later about that. But yeah, X marks the spot. You can see it right there. How? Right, and it's crossing over this other one. So I mean, you extrapolate this out into the rest of the sky, and yeah, you get this big grid. I don't know what else to call it. Yeah, that has these sort of diamond shapes then that are created by these crossing over lines. And right, who knows the schedule? Somebody does. Let's see if this is gonna work yet. Yeah, so let's just run through these. There's this is the day. Lots of, parallel, but also not. And here's they're all fascinating images, depending on, the eyes you're using to look at them. Different life cycles of a trail in this image. But definitely seeing a lot of parallel as well, right? 1, 2, 3, sometimes 4 parallel lines going down, which is also right. It's just it's a lot. It's just a lot, basically. And I guess this must be a little later in the day. I can check the timestamp. No, that was still at 9. So that, yeah, it all dissipates pretty quickly into this sort of soup that you see here. Right? That's just an hour later. And yeah, that's what you have. That's what you have. And you see more getting laid down, on top of that. And then by the end of the day, it's definitely pretty thick. Because what is this? Is this later? No, this is still not later. This one is later. Right, so this is more like 1 o'clock. And then you get this sort of, right, it gets sort of pulled apart and played with like cotton candy, like spread around, you know? And then, yeah, I think this is a great image too, because you can see sort of the different iterations of it. That this is all basically the same material, whatever it is up there, in its different stages. And there's a plane right there. What's going on, dude? Yeah, I think we saw that one already. Yeah, and X marks the spot. Basically, is the lesson of the day. That's what I'm going with. So, let's switch on over to the internet. What is it called? That's right, the internet. So, just, you know, a little note on biosphere toxicity, because why not? There are microplastics everywhere, all over the goddamn place. And maybe this, you know, they're racking it up to just plastics getting degraded and spread around everywhere. But I wonder sometimes if it has something to do with what I was just talking about. If those things could possibly be related. Scientists already knew that microplastics can hang in the air of big cities like Paris and Dongguan, China, but no one has yet shown just how far these things can travel. This work was a short-term pilot study that demands further investigation for the other researchers, but the implications are shocking. Shocking. Right? And, you know, this article is definitely written like they didn't know that this was happening. Although, isn't too surprising. But that's sort of the point, you know. It's like when something's made, it's out of the box, like it's out there, right? And it's gonna get spread around. And yeah, I kept meaning to make this video about this when it rained, and I had this power thing outside, the like a cable that was hot, and because it was hot, I don't know, it must have done, you know, some chemical reaction or something to the rainwater, because it was like all covered in plastic, this heat thing. It was, you know, like an adapter. Right? And it makes you wonder, where's this plastic? Where is it coming from? Wouldn't really surprise me, especially you know, in California, if that we got the same thing going on here, and that this is you know, the same issue isn't replicated all over the place, and whether, you know, it's coming directly out of the sky or you know, just getting degraded through the years, it's still in our toxic ass fucking terrible monster thing that we've created, whatever you want to call it. And who knows? What are we supposed to do about it? Big today, obviously, was this, the church burning.
Yeah,
and this was an accident, right? Like totally just not planned or related to any sort of
Notre Dame Cathedral. Something a few people witnessed.
timeline, right?
oh my god.
Burning at a level that you rarely see a fire burn. It's one of the great treasures of the world.
Now I got like 20 videos playing at the same time.
If you think about it, I would say it might be
But basically, yeah, this is all over the news today, and it's interesting timing, etc., etc. That you can find a couple other people talking about that today. Yeah, I wanted to take definitely a minute and talk about this. Mathematicians have confirmed that humanity's collective attention span is getting shorter, and it is not just social media that's to blame. And what they did, yeah, they analyzed historical book, movie ticket sales, Twitter data, basically just a bunch of stuff, data points, and right from but a big data set from ticket sales from 40 years and book sales and stuff. I mean, I guess the internet's not been around that long, but checking out Wikipedia, Google Trends, all these other things, and basically saying that, right, for example, in 2013, trending topics on Twitter stayed in the global top 50 hashtags for an average of 17.5 hours. By 2016, that had fallen to 11.9, right? So that is just, in the space of 3 years, things are trending on Twitter an average of 6 hours shorter, right? That it's sort of insane, like, just in the space of 3 years. So, right, again, I'd say like the theme of the day of the century is like, you're only going to see a tiny little portion of what's actually going on. There's just so much going on, an insanity amount of things going on, and so you're gonna have to see what you see, the little tiny portion, and extrapolate from there. And yeah, if you're unable to do that, that can be definitely problematic. Like, you have to be able to look at little things like this and be like, oh, well, what is going on actually here? It's not just that I'm having trouble paying attention. It's that everybody is having trouble paying attention. It doesn't really matter. Like, there's nowhere to hide, basically. It's infecting you. Although what they do also say here someplace is that the trend is holding a little steadier for academic papers and other, like Wikipedia as well, research things. That attention span is holding a little stronger, but that still, in general, the trend is massively downwards. So, right? What are we supposed to do with this sort of information? Feel overwhelmed. And just all sorts of crazy futurist things happening in general. 3D heart, actual heart printed for the first time in Israel. A lot of things happening in Israel these days. It seems Israeli scientists print world's first 3D heart with human tissue. The lunar thing just crashed, and that was pretty fascinating for the just pure reality of it. And I thought this was interesting because they printed this heart, and it has blood vessels. It has all sorts of other complex things. They've only really printed other less complex tissues before this point. So, right, I wonder how much this heart's going to go for. And if you're going to be able to afford it, if you can switch out your heart, and if you can switch out your heart, what else can you switch out? Basically anything else at that point, I would think. Like, extrapolate from there. Size for a rabbit. But, it's all just a progress. It's coming. Wait, it's already here, right? That's sort of how it goes. And then pretty soon, right, Kaiser is offering you the deluxe heart or the economy heart, and you're gonna have to get like a lease on it or something. Designer body parts are like literally right around the corner from this thing that just happened. Think about it. And this I had pulled up. This is yesterday or whatever the other day, but it wasn't. It wasn't really quite working. This was all in the news about Alexa recording your conversations. Right in the original thing. Where is it? Yeah, sorry, skipping ahead here. The original article was in Bloomberg, and definitely worth checking out. But what I thought was interesting then is, the scattering, the people trying to cover. And this was in digital Transia, Amazon workers listening to Alexa records. It's not a big deal. Here's why. And it goes on to say, like, yeah, I get it. Like, that seems bad. But here's all the reasons why you don't need to worry about that. Like, I get the outrage. I really do. And it's also the tone in this article. It's just sort of like snippy. Like, I get it. I see what you're saying, but like, stop tripping out. It doesn't matter. Like, who cares? Like, all your data is getting collected, and like, what does it matter if there's people listening to you getting raped and not, calling the cops or do anything about it? Well, maybe they should call the cops. Like, that's, oh man. I mean, they're listening anyways. They might as well report all suspicious activity. Damn. I mean, why not? Like, here's, whatever else is coming down the road. It's fine, right? They already traded their privacy for convenience. Like, that's just the bargain that you've made with using this technology is the main argument, I guess, here towards the end. Just deal with it. It's happening. It's happened. Wait, you don't have a choice anymore. Sorry. We've moved on. Right, and the thing about all this data collection, this is just I run through this really quick, because I'd like to check out just the security updates for Apple. And in this last security update for iOS, I thought it was interesting. Oftentimes it's from big companies or other like security firms that are doing research and find problems or whatever. But the last one, because it has to say that in the security notes, like who's getting reimbursed. Because sometimes there's cash prizes for finding big problems, and this one was like written out to this person, like this at Tucson High or whatever, and I wanted to like check that out. And it was because, yeah, it was for FaceTime, and it seemed like a pretty big deal because FaceTime. I don't have the actual change log or whatever tech notes for the update, but basically this guy is just like a freshman or something. I don't know. Freshman at Catalina Foothills High School, right? And they didn't say like an undisclosed amount of money they're gonna basically pay for his whole college because he found this bug, and they want him to shut up about it and not talk about it. I just want to find the part where he talks about. Right, he was just like trying to set up like gaming with his friends. As Grant set up a group FaceTime call with his friends, he noticed something odd. He could hear one of them talking before ever answered the phone. Right, they're trying to play Fortnite, so everyone could hear what was happening, what was going on in the vicinity of the friend's phone. So Grant started talking to the friend, and then the first friend said, "Grant, can you hear me? I haven't answered the phone." And Grant, looking at his phone, looked at it like it was still ringing, right? So apparently there was some glitch with the group chat and FaceTime where it would basically just turn on that person's mic. And that just seems like a pretty, I don't know. InfoSec is hard. Tech is hard. It's complicated. But that seems like a pretty glaring mistake to have happen, and an easy sort of thing to leverage that I had never heard about. But these kind of things that could possibly go unnoticed for quite some time, and then get exploited. At least unnoticed by the general public, and get exploited by whoever may know about it or spread that information around. And the article is definitely worth reading. I mean, just pull up like whatever this says. Apple compensated a Tucson teen for discovering FaceTime security flaw. Because he like filled out a tech support form and was like, "Bro, FaceTime is hella like jailbroken," and they did not respond to that. And he just kept following it up, and his mom had to like write a letter, and they kept calling because they really wanted to like let Apple know that FaceTime was broken. And yeah, it took like months basically, and obviously the whole time they were doing that, FaceTime was still broken. And who knows how long it was broken before that. So yeah, I always get a pretty interesting story when you look at those change logs, when you look at the security updates, because like you imagine. I can't do it now, but I guess you could try with older phones. See if you FaceTime your friend and see if you can hear them before they pick up. And just in the vein of accidental things happening, Facebook accidentally shipped VR devices with secret messages saying Big Brother is watching. So apparently, tech people and all sorts of things have to set up demo versions to test, to send to other people to test and to work on. And right, Oculus is no different. They have to send out test units to a lot of people, and apparently they accidentally sent like the internal beta models. They were intended to be removed pre-production, and they sent some of these. Right, it was that's the best part. Unfortunately, some Easter egg labels meant for prototypes accidentally made it onto the internal hardware for tens of thousands of touch controllers. So it's not like a small, easy thing to hide. And so apparently this is, tens of thousands of people have these Easter eggs now, right? And that's what we're hearing here, that it was an accident. It's obviously an accident. But what was interesting is the phrases, I think. Right? Details where we don't share personnel details, but we can talk to, like, maybe they're blaming it on some employee, and maybe it was like an actual thing that they forgot. And who knows what other phrases were on here, but we got Big Brother's watching you. And this is VR, right? We're talking about VR, the future of all things, that is coming for your face, where you just lay it home on your face and you have like some nutrient thing attached to your side, and so you don't have to come out of VR and you just straight chill and talking about it doesn't sound that bad. Sounds pretty fun. But meanwhile, we're sort of in the beginning phases of that, and we got the tech people developing these things joking with these phrases. Big Brother's watching you. The Masons were here. The Masons were here? Which Masons? The guys fixing the wall. The construction workers, aren't they called construction workers now? This space for rent is pretty good, right? Because they have your brain. They're gonna get your brain, and they know it, and they joke about it all the time. They joke about it in front of your face. And also good. Hi, I fix it. We see you. Like screw those guys that are like repairing their own computers. I mean. That one I don't get as much, but still, just general madness out there. General madness. So let's go back real quick, because we're always running out of time. Time is always just flying and running out. I want to talk about symbolism for the time we have left here. Shapes. Especially as they are depicted in media, because they're everywhere. Shapes and symbols, they're everywhere. And I sort of want to try and get away from the discussion about whether they're intentional or not. I don't think that is even that relevant, because a lot of people doing a lot of important things are not doing it with the intention, but the effect is still received. Do you see what I'm saying? A director or an artist or a politician doesn't really need to know all of the ins and outs and power of the symbols that they're using to use them. I mean, we all use words every day. I'm using words right now. To written words, those are symbols. Have incredible power, and our subconscious can process them very quickly. And we can also just put them out very quickly, right? And that's sort of what I'm trying to get at here. When we see hexagons here in this dome covering the main lady, in whatever TV show this is, the hexagons in the force field, right? The debate of, like, who put that there? Is it on purpose? Like, I guess is relevant, you know. We want to get to the bottom of the big master cabal that is, you know, I guess running the whole show. But, you know, at least for the people that I know that do art things, like, it comes from a subconscious level, and that's the nature of culture. And if you if you saturate the culture in satanic imagery and spread that out really far, eventually it has like a self-catalyzing point where it just keeps going. It just the symbols will propagate themselves, basically, and that's how it's working. All of a sudden, everybody's plastering all their stuff with black and white checkerboards and butterflies and hexagons because they're cool or whatever, or just because that's just how they look. But on the other hand, if you are aware of the power of these symbols, which, you know, if you're a good writer or good anything, right, you're going to understand on a deeper level, like, yeah, there's one way of saying words. You could words, but words hard, and words put together long, complex, also hard, and better do that more understanding power is what I'm saying. And, the same goes for these symbols. If you know and understand how to use these symbols, man, it's, the pen is mightier than the sword, but, like, the symbol is pretty goddamn mighty, is what I'm trying to say. Right, and so that was Star Trek. This is a frame from American Gods. And, right, it's a hexagon. It's a hexagon surrounded by Masonic black and white tiles at the mall, right? And in this scene, they're talking about how the malls are going out of business and how this used to be the cool spot to be, and people have moved on from this. Basically, we're in the digital age now. But they zoom in on this hexagonal checkerboard encircled pawn. It's got the change in there. It's this just more general images of collapse, because that's all we know how to look at these days. And the palm trees, that whole thing. This doesn't even seem like it was right originally there. It seems, I don't know, like they must have built it for the shot. That's just the vibe that I'm getting. It's like a hexagon, but maybe not. And the thing, I mean, pull out the clip. You should definitely watch American Gods. It is a fantastic show. But they hold in the shot for a second here when they're talking about the mall. And, right, it's the association of the content of, the malls, and for that matter, all of retail America just utterly collapsing before our eyes. And while we're staring at the hexagon, the worker bee, the, you know, you gotta fit into your little spot. Hexagons fit really beautifully, nicely together. I mean, obviously that's why, like, honeybees, that's why bees like hexagons. They just fit together. You can just keep building out, and they're great for containment domes and other sort of stuff like that. What else are hexagons good for? Trying to think. I mean, a bunch of things. I gotta put together a whole video, basically. I've been collecting hexagon shots for quite some time because this is pervasive. I mean, you notice a lot of other symbols. Obviously, Illuminati confirmed. Oh, I wasn't supposed to say that. Damn, now they're on to me. Do you guys know that I'm talking subversive things on this channel? Even though I'm using a voice changer, are you gonna come to my house and, like, fuck me up? Because, I mean, that would be scary. Don't do that. I mean, unless you're gonna, like, ask me to join, because, I mean, I'd kind of be down. In which case, you know, obviously you have that, like, NSA level hacking stuff. You can hear my phone right now, and you can hear my original voice and track location and all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, yeah, like, if you want me to shut up, like, that's cool. Just get in touch. If not, I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep doing this for a little bit. So, ask yourself. I don't know. Hexagon. What's a hexagon? Is it a hexagon on purpose? Does it matter if it was on purpose? Does it still have the same hexagonal shape and power? Is an F and an A and a B and a C, a A and a B and a C, and if you don't know what an A and a B and a C are, maybe you're not hip to knowing what umlauts are, you know? You don't know how to say that. There's a lot you don't know.